This is a chance to reveal yourself, and we command you.
Just gotta chill. I don't usually do this.
Welcome to Hunter Road Media. I'm author and ghost historian Mike Ricksecker. Explore the connected universe with us. I've had countless paranormal experiences throughout my life, and many of them came on paranormal investigations. Which paranormal investigations were my most haunted? Here are 5 of them. Demonic cases are rare and certainly not as common as television would like you to believe. However, there has been a particular case that was demonic that I was on that did air on television, and that was the Monster in the Closet case out in Edmond, Oklahoma. And this aired on Animal Planet's The Haunted back in 2011. Now, in this case, the adult daughter Taliesin was experiencing a shadow entity in the closet with red eyes. This family had been haunted for something like 20 years, even though most of them didn't communicate that with each other. It finally came out one day, and the most prevalent part of this haunting was this red-eyed entity. It was terrorizing Taliesin, it was terrorizing the cat. Others in the household were seeing it, so we were brought out to investigate this household, and we investigated there many times over the course of several months, and the haunting was getting worse and worse. Basically, Taliesin was experiencing oppression by this spirit and was actually getting to the point of borderline possession. And we had Carl Johnson, a renowned demonologist, come out to the house to cleanse it. And this was the primary focus of this particular television show. Well, that night when we were doing the cleansing, all hell broke loose. We were just going about doing the cleansing work, and Taliesin came into the household. The family was asked to stay outside. She came in to use the restroom. When she finished with that, we noticed her in the master bedroom talking at something unseen at the wall. And she was saying things like, why are you still here? Why do you keep terrorizing us? Things like this. And so Carl decided to do a blessing over Taliesin. Well, when he did this, she all of a sudden doubled over in pain like she got punched in the gut. And I caught on my audio recorder an EVP right there that said, die.
This is a chance to reveal yourself, and we command you, by the holy powers, by the angels that visit this house.
Ow! Ow! You alright? Ow!
This is a chance to reveal yourself, and we command you, by the holy powers, by the angels that visit this house.
Ow! You alright? Ow!
So you basically, see her get punched in the gut like this and then hear that die EVP, and that's when we knew things were really serious. After that happened, there were a number of things that followed that the television show didn't include, but there were still very significant things, like the back door started blowing open, and we would close it, and it would blow open again, and we'd close it again, and it would blow open again. We ended up having to deadbolt the thing, and Carl did a blessing over the door. Well, then the tri-field meter in Taliesin's bedroom that we'd set up on a dresser right by the closet where she was experiencing all the activity, that started going off like crazy.
Okay. Where's the K2, Mike? You got it?
No, right here.
Okay.
Finally, we ended up pushing this entity out into the backyard as we were going about the cleansing. And when we were in the backyard, the wind started kicking up like crazy and the cats are running around in circles. It was absolutely bizarre. Finally, the wind died down. Carl dropped to a knee after giving his blessing and pushing this thing out of the yard, off of the property. And what was really interesting is we ended up going into the side yard where the family was staying at during this entire time. And we made comments like, wow, that wind really kicked up, didn't it? And they're looking at us and they said, what wind? They didn't experience this wind at all that we had out in the backyard. So this was an absolutely crazy active night. One of my favorite investigations was at the Ferry Plantation in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And this was a moment in which I did something that I don't normally do, which is channel spirit. I don't claim to be a psychic or a medium or anything like that. While other people tell me I have more going on than I give myself credit for, I definitely had something going on that evening, and I'll just let the clips tell the story.
I was living in Maryland for a number of years, just moved, but I've been asked to come here as a visitor today.
What do you think about this display out here? That, like, okay, somebody's here, okay. Hi. So, I'm guessing you don't like it. It's got a massive chill. Okay, wow, okay. I'm just feeling cold right now. I'm feeling extremely cold. I guess I hit on a sore subject, so you can't see this, okay. Yes, it looks like a funeral parlor. Okay. You need to let the person that runs this place know. I don't usually do this. I can convey that message for you. I feel like right now I'm acting like a sensitive, and I don't ever claim to be. There's a little shadow movement over there. Back. It was back over there by the foot of it. Little shadow movement. I still feel really, really cold right here. Right here, super, super cold. So, what would you like to see here? Is there something you'd like to see here instead? You can just tell me. You know, I have something here that might be able to pick up your voice. It's on my arm. A weird fox thing that's on my arm. Just talk to me. It might be able to catch your voice. What was that? While I am explaining my audio recorder, the camera captures an EVP that says "Help me." While the bleed over from the next room has caused a lot of the audio footage to be unusable in this investigation, this particular EVP is very distinct and different from the muffled sounds coming from the other room. You can just tell me. You know, I have something here that might be able to pick up your voice. It's on my arm. A weird fox thing that's on my arm. Just talk to me. It might be able to catch your voice. What was that? Just talk to me. It might be able to catch your voice. What was that? It was like a light. Up there by the ceiling, it was some sort of, it wasn't a mist, but it was some sort of light. I don't know, something. Almost like a band of light. Now I'm feeling tingly in my arms. Oh my god, and I am freaking cold. And I am freaking cold. I mean, if you want to make your feelings really known, you could just, and I don't usually do this either, but I think it might be appropriate right now. You could just push that right off the table there. That body thing that they have set up, if you really don't want to see it there, you could just push it right off. You could. You just gotta chill. I'm not going to do it for you. Okay? You would have to do that on your own. I'm not going to do it for you. If you don't like it there, you could just do that. And if you were to do that, I'd tell Heather what happened. I'd tell her that you really don't want it there. And that's why you did that.
Okay, I've stepped outside for a few minutes. I just had to take a breather. I was told that stuff could be seen shooting out of me when I came out of that room. And whatever I had asked while I was in there, they actually saw something shoot into there. So from the questions that I was asking, it attracted something from their room into my room, which was the best parlor, but that's where they held the wakes. That's why that is set up there. And yeah, then they could see stuff shooting on me. So that was extremely overwhelming.
Then there's the Stone Lion Inn. Now this is my favorite haunted house. You basically just walk up to this place and you're like, yeah, that's a haunted house. You just get that total vibe from it. It's in Guthrie, Oklahoma. It serves as a murder mystery bed and breakfast right now, and they also do the paranormal investigations there. Well, we investigated there many, many times, but there was one particular night that was just off the charts. And on this night, it really started off, just had that, omen. So I just started off doing a standard EMF sweep of the house, electromagnetic field sweep. So this is where we're looking for any abnormalities in the electricity of the household, see if there are appliances that are running a little high, or maybe an electrical socket, areas that may have this high EMF. And I was in the library. Now, we don't usually get much paranormal activity in the library, but as I was walking by the fireplace, all of a sudden, the meter that I was holding spiked out into the red, and I felt this huge wave of energy just come over me, and I almost passed out. Fortunately, I was fine and I didn't pass out, but it was just kind of like the sign of things to come. A little while later, we finally start the investigation, and we're walking through the entrance hall into this little hallway to go back into the parlor suite, which is the lower level, basically hotel room, for lack of a better term. And as we were going through that entrance hall, we noticed that this bureau that's set up there, it's just a chest of drawers that's used to block off a door to the old parlor. That's now the parlor suite. And we noticed that one of the drawers was open, and we didn't really pay it any mind. We noticed it was open, just walked by, like, okay, that's interesting. And we're in the parlor suite for no more than about 2 minutes when all of a sudden, boom, and we hear that slam of the drawer, and we go out, and yeah, there it is. The drawer has been slammed shut. So I get out my camera, Johnny's getting out the tri-field meter, and he's trying to take readings while I'm snapping pictures, and I got this fantastic white wisp between him and the bureau. Well, after a couple minutes of doing that, we decide, the parlor suite was really small for all of us to be back there, so let's split up into 2 groups. So I'm leading a group up the stairs. I had gotten almost to the landing in the middle of the stairs, and another girl started her way up, and between us, this framed photograph of Lizzie Borden, boom, just crashed to the stairs. And nobody touched it, nothing like that, just randomly, boom, crashed to the stairs. So it was an extremely haunted evening, one in which later on we were seeing shadows dart in and out of doors. A lot of things going on in that particular investigation at the Stone Lion Inn. Then there's the Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York. And this location is supposed to be a very active haunted house. Got a little bit of activity in the house, but in my experience, there was a lot more going on with the land and out in the woods. And for those that have seen our coverage on fairies, this was a time and a moment in which we really seemed to have significant fairy activity. And again, I'll let the clips tell the story. It was in the woods behind the haunted Hinsdale House in New York when I also saw what may have been fairies while investigating the property with Megan Talbert in late September 2019. When I tell this story, people like to say that these possible fairies were actually fireflies. However, this was the wrong time of year for fireflies. This was late September, and these were blue lights that we saw. Now, blue fireflies do come out in June in some areas around the Carolinas. However, again, this was late September, And we were up in New York, not down in the Carolinas. So these weren't fireflies. When Megan and I first saw something strange back in the woods behind the Hinsdale house, we had seen way off into the woods this strange ball of blue light. It was moving a bit between the trees. And what was interesting about it was as it moved between the trees, it also would become blurry at times, kind of fade out. And then it would get a little bit brighter and then we could see it clearly. And it was doing this for quite a while.
Okay, so out in the woods here, and we're seeing some different lights back over there, which may just be some stationary lights on the neighbor's property. Hard to tell, but then we had that crazy, weird sound in there. We have no idea what it was. But the blue light is kind of dancing around a little bit.
I have to keep moving in order to see it. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, I need to... I'm here, I can see it, but I have to keep kind of swaying to keep my eye on it, so it makes me think it's not completely stationary, and it's like
Kind of hovering
flashing
around the same spot, yeah. And it does flash, yeah. Yeah, I know, like when I first saw it, it was kind of like blurry a little bit, which is kind of weird.
Well, we finished up that part of the investigation and did a regular paranormal investigation down in the haunted Hinsdale house. We took a break a little while later and went outside in the backyard to stoke up the campfire. And as we're just sitting there talking, little blue lights started to come down out of the woods. We saw them come down the path, we saw them in the tree line, and they started to come closer and closer to us. Well, this was absolutely fascinating, so we went out to take a look at the lights. And what was interesting about this is the ones that were up more in the trees were kind of twinkling and moving about, while there were several that were on the ground. And what happened when they were on the ground was they would like fade in really bright and then slowly fade out.
Yeah, right there in the path, right there in the path.
Yep.
Hi,
I
hi.
swear it's you.
Yeah, just the one. It's okay, come on. You can. Right there next to the audio recorder is a twinkle. Hi, that's right. Come on back.
Well, we got out our cameras, we got out our flashlights, and we're trying to figure out what exactly this is. Of course, the first idea is, are these some sort of strange bug? Well, we got right down there on the ground, looking with our flashlights. There's no bug, nothing whatsoever.
They're so close. Megan, honestly, I've never seen them like this before. And they've just come so close, and so many of them.
Right. I know we might seem really big to you, but we're not here to harm you.
Yeah, and we're trying to be careful.
Oh, right here.
I see it.
Hi.
Hi.
There's two.
There's sometimes when I see these on the ground like this, it kind of has that blurry effect that I was seeing back then.
We're trying to capture this stuff with the camera, and it was almost impossible to capture these little blue lights on camera. I tried infrared, I tried regular shot, all different kinds of things to try to get these on camera. I do have a little bit of a blurry image of one, so we may have actually gotten it.
They're so bright. So unbelievably bright, please.
So this went on for quite a while, and what I decided to do was to leave an offering. A lot of people talk about leaving offerings for fairies. Well, we had an apple available to us, so I put an apple out on the path.
Okay, this is my offering to you. I'm putting an apple down. I'm going to put it next to you. How about that? And there's a couple of them. Whoa! I just saw like 3 of them light up right when I put that down. And there's a big one back there. See, right there, right there.
When we came out there in the morning, what was really strange about the apple is that it was exactly in the same place in which I had left it. It had not moved at all, but yet something had burrowed into it from the side, took out a large chunk, but looked like it had actually burrowed into it. And then around the apple were all these little shards and pieces of the apple.
There's the apple that we left as an offering. And honestly, it does look like somebody taking a bite out of the side of it.
And that's exactly where we placed it.
That's exactly where we placed it.
And if that...
It's nothing big. It's not like, definitely a deer did not take a bite out of it and leave it there.
If it was a deer, it would have been in a different location.
Yeah. Something small ate
Is
into it.
I was gonna say it's like almost not hollowed, but it's not just a bite, and there's chunks of it around.
Yeah.
Like it was, and there's pieces of it, like it
There's
was carried
pieces
off.
of it over there. Yeah. Interesting.
Well, if it was a deer, it would have actually taken the apple and walked off with it, or if it had taken a bite out of it, it would have moved the actual apple. The apple wasn't moved. If it was a bug that would have burrowed into it, we wouldn't have all these shards of apple around the apple itself. So it seems like our little blue friends may have taken up the offering. Finally, there's a Campsville grade school in Campsville, Illinois. Now, this particular location doesn't seem like it should really be haunted. It's just a school. However, it's an extremely haunted school. And the reason why that actually may be is that years ago, almost 100 years ago now, this was an archaeological dig site for Native American artifacts. And even to this day, you can still see the terracing in the land from when they had the dig. Well, they basically, boom, built the school. The basement is essentially the old dig site, and then the school's on top of it. We've gotten a bevy of EVPs there, all sorts of disembodied voices. We've gotten footsteps from a second floor that doesn't exist, that ring loud as a bell. However, it's a location in which I've gotten some of my most significant visual evidence. And you don't usually get a lot of visual evidence. You can take thousands and thousands of photos, take hours and hours and hours worth of video footage, and you get very, very little. But this location had a lot going on. So many of you are familiar with my significant research into shadow phenomena, and this is the location in which I actually captured a shadow person on video. And in the video, you can actually see it kind of walking a little bit. And what was going on here, this was in the gym. And where this was captured was over by the doors that lead to the boys' locker room and down to the basement area. And this entity was playing with us. We had been over there investigating by those doors because we had heard things over there earlier. And then we heard things over by the bleachers and went over there and investigated. And we were back by the doors and then back to the bleachers. It was playing with us. But there's one time when we were over there by the bleachers, we actually caught this shadow entity on camera as I was panning the camera around. Didn't see it with my eyes at the time, basically because the glare of the camera is shining up at me. But in the footage we see it, and when we went back later and did a height comparison, it was about the height of a 10-year-old child, which stands to reason that this thing was playing with us.
Can you play that whistle for us again? Can you play that whistle for us again?
Now, like I said, beyond those doors are stairs that lead down to the basement area, and we heard a number of things come up from that basement. Well, after a while, it seemed like it's not really coming from the basement. Maybe it's actually coming from the stairs. So we set up a camera looking down the stairs, and we caught what appears to be the apparition of a woman staring up the stairs at the camera, almost like she's posing for the picture. And you can see either her, her hands are together or crossed. You can see her hair in a bun. Really, really interesting capture. Now, the next day we went back because we had seen that footage of the woman down there at the bottom of the stairs. We tried to recreate it in order to debunk it. We could not debunk it. We could not recreate that image of the woman there down at the bottom of the stairs. But while we were setting up the camera, there was a stone that was thrown from out of that passageway that leads into the boiler room area.
It's set right about here, right?
It's just a small school, but it's big on paranormal activity. These are just a handful of fantastic paranormal investigations over the years. And for more paranormal activity at haunted locations, please check out our other videos off to the side. I'm Mike Ricksecker. Until next time.